everybody. I see some familiar faces here. I'm generally the guy that people hate following because I bury bodies for a living. My name's Chris Perry. I'm a journalist. I'm also a marketer, but I'm more a journalist than anything else. I like to help people find good investments. I also help people find terrible investments to steer clear of. Today I'm going to talk about the worst part of the public markets, which is CDAR. Anyone who has experience with this website run by our regulators, where our public companies are supposed to submit their information for us to easily find, will know that this is a terrible, terrible website, seemingly designed to frustrate us rather than help us. It previously was built on 1997 web technology. It's recently been upgraded to 2003 web technology. I have all sorts of theories about why this is, but let's just get into it. I'm a journalist, as I said. I help find good guys. I help find bad guys. What I want in the world, last night when I was working on this was a 12-point thing of what I want in a perfect world in the public markets, but it shrinks down to two things. We should have more tools to help better understand deals, and we should have transparency from the public companies that we're dealing with here. In an era where so much can be done with technology, it is extremely frustrating that our regulators don't see the value of using that same technology. So, what we got instead of my perfect world is a reworked CDAR that fails everybody. We'll go into that in greater detail. Regulators who take 5 years to pull actions towards bad actors generally let them off with a slap on the wrist, and then come to the public companies and guys like me and make life difficult for us because we're smaller. We're easier targets. We don't have lawyers on queue like some of the bigger guys that are behind the financing of some of our public companies. So I'm going to walk you through an anatomy of a shitty deal. Now, when I was putting this together, there were many, many targets that I could pull out of this. I pulled one unfortunate company out of the mix, but I deal with bad companies that are being financed in shady ways all the time. Prospera Energy is one that I recently stumbled upon. I've got many beefs with that company, but instead of them, I'm going to go with a tech company called Imagine AR. Now, I've written about these guys since 2015. Every time I write about them, it's when they're in the middle of a pump. I think I actually help them execute the dump when I do so because the stock always plummets when I write about them. They always send their minions after me to tell me how I'm a pump and dumper or a shorter or whatever, but I've always been right about this company when I say that they're full of shit. They are a one-man tech company. That is, there's one guy in a small office on House Street that buys off-the-shelf software, rebrands it, and claims it as their own IP, more or less. For the last 7 years, they've been promising that they're right around the corner from revenue, and it never is the case. But if I look at them right now, that's not a bad share chart. Like if I was the CEO of a company and that was my chart, I'd say, you know, I'm doing okay. I've pulled it up off the floor. I've got a little bit of volume, a little bit of volatility. It's shrunk back a bit, but I've more or less doubled my share price. As a journalist, I don't trust this. I want to know what's behind this little move, a 5x from seemingly no news. Now, the news behind the company recently in that time has been we borrowed some money. We got a convertible debenture note. We're not going to tell you who gave it to us. We're not going to tell you where it came from. But while they're announcing the tranches of that note, that generally you would think would either level off a share chart or even drive it down a little bit, instead this thing's going up 5x on no news and no marketing. Why is that? My thinking is somebody sees a good deal for themselves and is chomping it all up for next to no money. But I want to know why. And I also want to know why when the news finally came out that these guys were getting involved in a lawsuit against somebody, the stock dropped through the floor instead of actually going up. Something's happening behind the scenes here, and we're not told what it is because when they announce the debenture, they don't tell you who's taking it. They don't give you all the details about who's cashing in their warrants from earlier. That's on us to find out. So we go to CDAR. And this is where things get really shitty because we're just looking to Mama for a little bit of help, and Mama's drunk on the couch getting a foot rub. This site is dog shit. If you look at this and you've never seen it before, and all you want to do is type in a company name and see what their documents look like, where do you even put the company name here? Like, what is this? This is designed to stop you from being productive in any way, shape, or form. Now, I've been involved in tearing this particular company apart since 2015. So I looked back to 2021, 2022, and I found a name on the directors list that some people will be familiar with. I found Sheldon Inwintosh. Now, for those that don't know, Sheldon is a guy who finances public companies. He comes roaring in when you need money most. He gives you a little bit of cash, you give him a sweet deal, give him a bunch of warrants, share price goes up miraculously on no news, and then it comes shattering down again. I don't know if Sheldon's behind this company still, because the company doesn't have to tell me. And if it did tell me, I'd have to track down the documents somewhere on CEDAR where everything has the exact same title. And if I'm using my phone, I have to download 30 PDFs to get where I'm going. No, thank you. This is what I call being Sheldoned. I was involved in a public company, a tech company some years ago, Amped Ventures. This was a high-performance computing company that, if it were alive today, would be going through the moon with AI being what it is. But at the time, they needed a couple of $1 million, and they were struggling to get financing. So I get a phone call from these guys because I helped them come public, and they said, "We found our money. We found $2 million." And I said, "Fantastic. Who got it for you?" And the guy said, "Well, let me just go on my email. I'll get the name." It escapes me right now. And I said, "Well, as long as it's not Sheldon Inwintosh, you're fine." And there was silence on the end of the phone. And he said, "What's wrong with Sheldon Inwintosh?" Well, this is what's wrong with Sheldon Inwintosh. Now, I got to tell you, this is Sheldon. This is what he looks like, a cuddly grandpa. I've never sat down and talked with him, but I hear he's a good guy, and he makes money. This is what he does. He comes in when you really need the cash. He gives you the cash with a couple of caveats, and then he roars off into the sunset just around that 4-month hold coming undone. I don't know that he's involved with Imagine AR's debenture. No idea, because nobody from CEDAR to the company to anyone at my brokerage is going to tell me. I have to guess. So if I'm guessing, the system's broken. And to be fair, this isn't about Sheldon, because he's just doing what he's allowed to do. The rules state that this is fine. He's going in, tearing up companies, in my humble opinion, but it's okay. But if I write about a company and say, "Hey, this looks like a pretty good deal," that company's going to get a call from the regulator saying, "Is Chris Parry on your payroll? Show me all your work orders. Show me your contract." This guy doesn't get that. So, because there's so many Sheldons out there, and again, I apologize to him for using him as a verb, but we seriously need to do our own research in a better way than just, I'm going to go through 30 PDFs in an hour to look up one public company. We need to create our own technology to be what CEDAR isn't. We need to extract information, compare data, draw conclusions, and the best way to do that right now is to use AI. Now, I could probably sit here for 3 hours and explain to you all about how you can use AI, what sort of AI you could use, what it can do for you, how to build your own data networks, how to build your bad guy lists, how to start building rules. I don't have time to do that. What I do have time to do is to show you at a very basic level how you can use simple AI tools to start that process of going through a bunch of stuff. Now, this is ChatGPT. You've probably heard of it. You might have played with it. It's pretty dumb, all told. It's basically a sullen teenager that you're asking to clean its room. It might well clean its room, but it's not going to really do it the way you want to do it. But for our purposes right now, it's useful. We take the MD&A document from Imagine AR that you can get from CEDAR or Yahoo News or Stockwatch, and you add it to the box here and you say, "Hey, look at this company for me. I'm interested in these certain elements of analysis." And then ChatGPT, for nearly free, will say, "Sure, here's some stuff. Here's some strengths and some weaknesses. Hey, this company has some tech. The weaknesses, well, it hasn't been able to carry any relationships with its partners. Hey, upside, it manages to get financing. Downside, it might have a bit of dilution problem." But that's not enough, right? That's simple stuff that you could probably get yourself from reading 8 or 9 news releases. I want to go deeper. So to do that, I'm going to set my own rules. As an investor, what's important to me? So just using Notepad, I can go in there and say, "Look, I want to find out, tell me all about the financings. When were the financings? When do they come free trading? Who's borrowing money? What's the details of those borrowings? Lay out the information for me on a timeline. Maybe keep a list of bad guys. Now, this list for me 6 months ago was about 3 pages. 5 months ago, it was about 15 pages. 3 months ago, it was 25 pages, and ChatGPT started malfunctioning on it. I've got a long list of bad guys that if they're attached to a deal, I want to burn it to the ground. They're all legal, they're all fine, they're all walking around out there telling these companies that they'll help them out, but they're not really going to help them out. And the only way you have to figure out who's a bad guy or not is by virtue of having dealt with a company that got Sheldon's, right? There's nowhere on CEDAR you can click on a name and find the last 30 companies that guy was introduced to. There's nowhere where you can click on a name and see this guy is a magnet for shit. But you can keep your own list and you can start using it alongside that MD&A. Take the orders from this list, run them through this MD&A, and give me some information. And if I do that with Imagine AR, I find, these guys did a $700,000 financing at 2 cents earlier last year. Before they did their first tranche of the convertible debenture, where they get 12% interest, but also the guy loaning them the money can convert that debt to 5 cents stock at any point. With 7 cents warrant, hey, that 2 cent financing had a full warrant at 5 cents. That was pretty tasty. So what am I going to find out with this? I know exactly why this thing went down to 6 cents. Because all the guys that were doing this financing were waiting for that moment where they could elevate it to 15 cents, and all the retail investors say, hey, this is a 5X, I'm in. As soon as they do that, they start chumping through this cheap paper. Now, this isn't new. 2 out of 3 companies that are out here have done this sort of thing. But this sort of death spiral financing basically makes retail investors bleed from the ears. You can also see from my rules there that these guys struggle to maintain relationships. They're like me when I was dating freshly divorced. They're in one deal straight out the next day. They don't have the money to execute. This is a messy, messy company. Now I can find out with that one small script, just 50 words, and ChatGPT, that this is a dumpster fire. How many people are actually going to go to that effort? Not that many. Now, these are all the AI versions that you can use that are out there, and there's another 50, 60, 70 that could probably do the same thing. For most of these, if you take the time to sit down and learn how they work, do a little bit of coding even, you can extract really valuable information. But problem here is, who wants to do that one company at a time? Ideally, CEDAR would be that for us. Ideally, the people that run the markets, the people that are actually responsible for helping us find good investments, would say, CEDAR is broken. Everyone's fired. Let's get some technology in there so that CEDAR can say, hey, this company's spending too much money on promo. This company is spending too much money on management based on how much money is actually coming in. How hard would it be for our regulators to actually do that for us? Here's the thing. They ain't coming to the rescue. Imagine if CEDAR could tell you when stock becomes free trading. Imagine if CEDAR kept a bad guy list and said, hey, this company you're looking at, just word to the wise, the last 6 companies they're involved with have all gone to zero. Imagine a world where we were actually protected from the bad guys, instead of a world where half of you guys can't get in on private placement financings because you don't earn $350,000 a year. The regulators stop us from getting involved in the financings where big money is made to protect us. If you're poor, doesn't matter if you read books, doesn't matter if you went to university, you're too poor to be in these deals that Sheldon's in. If you've got money, you can go in any of those deals, and that's where you make enough money to qualify to get into those deals. My quiet advice is lie on your private placement forms. Tell them you earn money when you don't. They'll never know. So I got busy earlier this year when my rule book got a little too long for ChatGPT to get connected to really go through in a good way. And I built a platform with my friend here, Calcuteka, PhD, the prof from back east. We got together and we said, all right, what would we like to see in a website that actually gave us the ability to go through every mining company. Right now it's mining companies, biotech companies coming, crypto coming. But right now, the hard thing for us is how do we make mining companies easier to understand? How do we transparent this? So we built stock docs. Now, if you go to stockdocs.io right now, you'll see an email sign-up sheet that'll let you know when we go public with this. Not go public, but open it to the world. And the idea behind stock docs is that we go through every MD&A document, but not just every MD&A document, every news release, every company deck, every investor deck. We chomp through it all, we crunch it down into little bits, and then we put it back together with just the good stuff. Take away 45 pages of fine print and tell us who's behind these companies so that we actually have information that's actionable. As an example, if I want to look at Azincourt Energy, I can select it from my list there. I can get digging. Now, the first that you'll see is simple stuff, the share chart, some financial information, news releases, but as you get deeper into it, you find more valuable information. For a start, who's behind this company? Who's the CEO? Who's the qualified person? What do they do? What are they looking for? Where are they looking for it? Are they involved in any litigation? And interestingly to me, what's the last bunch of financings look like? What have they been getting money at price-wise? What have they raised? What's it look like? And what we're working on right now is when does it go free trading? Going deeper, what are they spending on promo? Now, this is Alaska Energy Metals, and anyone familiar with Alaska Energy Metals know that it should be called promo.com because these guys will market the shit out of themselves. Nothing wrong with that. I'm in the marketing game. Marketing is a good thing. But I want to know specifically, who are they using for marketing? Are they reputable? I want to know when the deals die so that the marketing is going to end. My thinking is the stock might start coming down. I want to be able to see on a timeline, when is this company going to be under pressure? When is this company going to not be under pressure? I want to look at management fees. This is American Pacific Mining. This company is well respected. They're doing some good work, but they're also paying their CFO $400,000 a year. I don't know about you guys. I don't know many CFOs that are earning that much money. I would hope they're doing the due diligence of Jesus himself on acquisitions once a day to be paying the CFO $400,000. CEO's not getting a bad time of it either. I want to know how much of the money that they brought in are they putting into the ground? How much are they putting into management? I can't get that from CEDAR right now. I can't get it from anyone. You can get it from Stock Docs. And if there's something in the list of information that we're pulling down that you want more info in, because we have the base data in our database, we can ask it any question we like. You can go to ChatGPT right now and say, is Azincourt Energy drilling? And it will go to the website and it will strip some info and it will say, yeah, probably, there's some stuff there. Or you can get more detail, which is, when did they most recently drill? What did it look like? What do they got planned for the future? And if I've got information I want to pull out of this, I can ask another question and another question. In the future, our plan is that we're hopefully going to get to a place where you can click on somebody's name and see the last 10 companies they're involved in. When this happens, bad actors are finally rewarded for their bad actions with being infamous. Right now, any one of you out there that does the good thing by shareholders, there's no way to tell anybody. Every company out here will tell you they have a world-class management team. They have the best board of directors out there. There's nobody that says, we're learning as we go. Everybody says, no, we're the number one. Cool, and you got a picture behind you with a map and a guy in a hard hat. You're really differentiating yourself. I want to be able to reward the best guys in the business by showing how they're the best guys in the business. And if the regulators won't do that, then Cal and I are going to do that for you. Look for us by the time PDAC comes around. Hopefully we'll be on launch. I'm going to give you back a minute of your life. Thank you very much for your time. And feel free to tell me which guys suck to add to my list.